So, hi everyone. I just want to give you a couple tips on how to approach your Art Deco trace. Believe it or not, it's actually simpler than you may think, and it's actually kind of fun. And so, let's do a couple house cleaning things first. Go up to your view and go down till you see Smart Guides. Make sure that that is not checked. Trust me, it'll make it a little bit easier whenever you're trying to do a point-to-point type drawing. The next thing is over here inside your toolbar. If you come down here to the color, let's make sure that your fill is set to none. If not, you can simply select that, make sure that that squares in the front, and then click the none filter right there. Alright, and finally inside of our layers tab, let's make sure that our drawing layer is selected because that's where we're going to be putting all of our drawings on. And by the way, after you've watched the layers video, you are more than welcome to use as multiple layers as you want. It's entirely up to you, however you wish to organize your drawing. So I'm going to go and select my pen tool. So what I thought I'd do is I'm just going to walk you through a couple things to think about as you draw. And typically what I try to tell most students for this project is think in shapes and also think in layers or depths, because keep in mind that not everything has to be one massive shape, and you can always move shapes back and forth. So as you're drawing, think about multiple shapes. So give you an example. If I were to draw this, obviously notice that this, I'm assuming that's some type of fur, sits on top of this object, but sits behind this object. And the nice thing is that gives us a little bit of freedom with our lines. I'll give you an example. So let's go and draw this real quick. So I'm going to start up here. I'm going to start with the white area. Click over here. And my apologies if my lines aren't perfect. I'm trying to do this in a speed fashion here for you. Okay. Now notice when I get down here, a lot of folks may be tempted to make it the exact shape, but I'm going to actually go beyond it because I'm a rebel. No, not really. In fact, I'm going to come over here and notice how I'm going into the gray area. And I know what you're thinking, Jason, that doesn't look anything like it. Trust me, it's not going to matter, and here's why. Now let's go and draw the gray area. Again, I'm going to come beyond here. Sorry, you don't have a camera, so you can't see my face, how probably my nose is so close to the screen right now. Alright, so let me show you why we did what we did. So keep in mind that this shape right here, this is the white portion. And let's go and just make it white just so you can kind of see for right now. And I'm going to change here, get rid of the stroke. Okay. And let's go and make this gray, and I'm going to select that shape. This time I'm going to use the eyedropper tool by clicking I on the keyboard and then just clicking on the gray color that I want to fill it. Okay, so notice that even though that this shape is so bizarre looking, it didn't matter because the gray shape is sitting on that. And so keep in mind that if you're going to have another shape sitting on top of another shape, you don't have to be exact all the time. This gives you so much freedom than trying to create everything on a line-by-line basis, so it matches up perfectly like a puzzle. You can actually have very weird shapes. And if you look down here, notice how technically this, I don't know what that's called, some type of glove that sits on your hands to keep you warm, but this is going to sit on top of these two shapes. So because of that, I'm able to go beyond. I can have a little bit of distortion down there, because whenever I draw this shape, let me go ahead again, add some black stroke there and get rid of that fill. Oops, I changed the wrong color there. That's the other tip. When you're messing with colors, make sure you don't have anything selected. All right. Okay, so let me go back. That needs to be white. Again, we've got a little bit of distortion down there, and it goes beyond the natural shape, but not a big deal because when we select this one and make it white, it's going to cover it. And let me get rid of that stroke. All right. And again, we can always bring things to the front. We can send them back. So think about it in that way as you work on your shape. So I'm just going to change that back to a black stroke, get rid of the fill, and let's go ahead and add a couple of other things. Oops. I don't want to add to the line. I'm going to deselect it. Go to my pen tool. Okay, now I'm creating the shadow area. Okay, and if we put that in, let's see what that looks like. Actually, before I do that, notice we've got this line right here. So that's just a standard line. So I can take my pen tool and draw a line in there, and then we can always control the stroke of that. I'm going to hit escape to get rid of the extender right there. Let's go ahead and fill the shape out. So select that, we make it white, get rid of the black. We've got this shape, which we know is the shadow, and I'm going to take my eyedropper tool and select something else that's the same color. All right, and we're going to select this because it's the line, and we can go over to our properties panel. We can come to our stroke and we can set it to what it should be. I'm going to guess it's probably about a good 3. All right, and we're going to make that white. Oops, let's make that 3 points. See how easy that was? And if I want a little bit of style on that line, I can always select it, go to my stroke, and come down here to my profile. Let me move this. I can't move the window up. And I can choose a different style. Not too bad. Okay, so let's say that we take this arm right here. So I'm going to take it, start down here in the corner. You can notice I'm just going up the arm. Again, forgive me for not being exact. And notice I didn't get rid of the fill. So I'm going to select that and change to none. Oops, and I need a black line. And you'll notice I did that while still having the pen tool selected. Okay, now notice once I get up here, I'm not going to follow this exact shape like that. In fact, I can go beyond it because guess what? That fur up top in this hand looking thing is going to cover it. And you'll see that in just a second. Let me go and finish out this shape before we do that. I like to do my shapes first before I start using color. Okay, and then finally, before we close this out, let's go and add these accent lines right here. I click and drag. Again, press escape to end that out. Click and drag to create that curve. Hit escape to end that out. There's one little tiny curve or line right here, so I'm just going to click on that. To it, I'm going to extend that all the way over here for my being. Hit escape. So now let's fill out this color, and I'll show you what I mean. So if we take this, let's make it white to match that. I'm going to use my eyedropper tool to select the white behind it. I'm going to select this shape because it is a shadow. So press I. I'm going to select the same color here. And I'm going to select these lines. I'm selecting multiple lines at the same time. And they're all going to be that gray. So I'm going to take my eyedropper tool and select that color. Now notice it changes to a fill instead of a stroke. That's okay. We're going to switch that around. We're going to swap it so it goes from fill to stroke, and we're going to give it an adjustment. Let's do 2. That looks better. 2. Okay, and just stop right there. So that's what we have so far, but notice this shape does not line up. So remember, we've talked about this. Because the fur sits on top of the arm, select the shadow, right click, bring to front. And because whatever this arm, this hand thing is, we know that sits in the front. I'm selecting all those pieces. I'm going to right click and arrange, bring to front. So as you do your trace, just know that there's multiple ways that you can approach this project, and think in pieces. If you think in pieces that don't have to be perfect all the time, it's going to free you up to be so much more productive. And finally, what I want to do is I want to grab these and let's add a little bit of accent line to them. Oops. I'm going to go to my stroke, click the profile, and let's see what that looks like. Oh, much better than those straight lines. Looks really good. As you get to practicing, it's one of those things that as you get to learn the pen tool, it's really just training your eye to be able to see in various shapes and how to recognize things and move things back and forward. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the project, and trust me, I think you're going to really enjoy it.